What's going on today, guys? It's GLG James.
GLG Johnny, formerly known as GLG Washed.
formerly. Been on a hot streak with the deck, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we have a deck profile for you. I went on a tear last weekend. Ended up going 14-1 with this deck. I won 2 locals, made it to grand finals in a box battle. Ended up losing to Nami, but it's Nami. But honestly, this is a different version of your typical RP Law builds that you'd see James run and some other players around run. So we'll get into it.
Yeah, and absolutely. Just one thing, too, I want to kind of touch about. It is a lot different of a deck. It's built more aggressive, I'd say. Almost like if RP Law and Zoro had a child, it would be this deck.
Yes.
Which, formerly, you are a Zoro player, right?
And that's really the ideology behind this build. Mid-range, sort of like Zoro back in the Whitebeard build. So you're swinging 5s, 6s, and 7s, right? You're going for card counts out of hand versus that big, massive swing in the top end. So just control the mid-range, and that's how I built it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get into it. So if we're looking at it here, we have it full screen right here for us. Starting us off with, the Otama Classic, right?
So this build has a total of 10 one-drop power negs. So I run the 4 Otamas, I run 4 Gordons, and 2 Raise Max. Most people run around 7, if not even 8 of the Gordon Raise Maxes. I already run a lot of cards that don't have counter to it, so I decided to minimize that and up the Otama. Some people only run 2 Otamas in their builds, but having the 2Ks are really necessary, because we run a 7, 8, 9K body format currently, so you need a lot of counter. It's hard to counter most 9s with this deck, to be honest, but the goal is to get them down so low that playing that 8 cost, 9 cost, 10 drop, it might lose in the game the next turn. So after that, I run 3 Sanjis. This is my anti-starve tech. We see a lot of Enels and Namis play in the format, especially with the new Nami build with the Kuja Pirates. This Sanji prevents the starve. It lets you get your life down, especially in the Enel matchup, right? They want to get the Gadatsu off. They want to pop your 4Ks. They want to pop your Shirayas. So A, it gives you a card in hand, and B, it helps you set up for anti-Yamato stuff. I used to run 4 Shiraya here, but with the format, I had to cut in order to fit 2 of the new 6 cost Sanjis. So I ended up running 3. I think this card is great for the black-yellow Luffy matchup. It is a win con. It gives you survivability, and when in doubt, you get to swing for a free 5K, even 6K with Whitebeard. It's great into RP Luffy, and overall, it's just been a good card as a tool. My next card, not a lot of people run this anymore. It's a 3-drop Zoro. So the idea behind the 3-drop Zoro is a lot of Law players want to run second. Well, if you don't have a turn 2 play, you're kind of dead in the water if you're only swinging 8. You kind of lose you lose value in that turn. So with the 3-drop Zoro, it gives them something they actually have to look at, because it does become a problem if it sticks 2 turns. If it gets a swing off and you can't get it off, I'm ramping to 6, potentially even 7, with a Bond Clay the next turn. And if you let me play at 7, and with this build, I'm going to do some nasty stuff with the Kid Killer combos, poking 6s, 7s at your hand. I'm not looking to take life immediately swinging 9. I'm looking at taking your hand down.
And then just kind of something to touch up on that, too. Also being an RP Law guy. That Zoro Juro in the mirror. Nasty. It's disgusting, because they know how deadly that card can be. So they are forced to right away have to address it.
Yeah.
So they're either burning a Gordon early, they're burning an Otama early, they're burning a film Law early. Either way, they're burning some sort of removal that they could have used last or the following turn. Instead, they're forced to use it that turn, right? Which typically they probably don't want to do.
Exactly.
Right? So some people want to wait a couple turns before they start ripping lead ability, but that forces them to have to because they know how much you're just going to get value off of it. So I think that's a really good card. Personally, like I said, I don't run it in my list, but just seeing the use, the versatility it's had and the impact it's had on some of your games, I've definitely been considering it.
So one setup you'll see a lot in yellow is at 4, they like to play the Kiko Nojo. One problem with Law going first is on 5, they don't get the kid into a removal out. But if they have the Zoro setup, you swing free for 4, you go into a kid plus a Gordon or a Raise Max, you can actually remove that Kiko Nojo that will become a problem, giving your opponent another life on KO. So you get that play off. Then you can go back into a Beppo, ramp 1, and you're neutral. So super strong play on 3. And you get 3 bodies out they still have to deal with. Here's a staple. A lot of people ended up actually cutting out the 3-drop Zoro. I love this card. At 3 costs, it gives you a ton of value. It won me 2 games actually in that store tournament last weekend. Just being able to play a 3-cost body and not lose 3 Dawn value off lead ability is super strong. It gets rush. It's a poke for a card in hand. A lot of the times I use this card to poke and I see a 2K come out instead of a 1K. It gives me a huge idea of what's actually in their hand. Kid and Killer. This is my biggest win condition with the Spice. I'll show you at the end. At 2 life, a free 7K swing rush is deadly. You guys know how good 7K rush is with that new 5-drop Ace in yellow. That's super strong. It gives you an ability to clear a body, swing at life, or even just hard play it going for game in your next turn. Love this card. It's the Bond Clay. This is my tech for the yellow matchup. They see this, they want to remove it, right? You don't even have to swing with it. It just causes them to worry about it. It's a threat, right?
So much anxiety.
Like, I've seen them spend a whole turn just using a Rygo just to get rid of it because it stayed on board. Last Monday in finals, I had 2 of these out playing against Anel in the late game for the finals. He spent so much cards and energy just removing 3 Bond Clays I had on the board because he was scared of it. He couldn't even play his 9-drop or his 10-drop because, the crackback is scary.
And especially having 2. When you have 2, getting that second one removed is absolutely it's so difficult for them. Yeah. Seriously, because they can do 1 maybe with like a Yamato. Maybe they starved you out, and then now you have 2 life, right? And the Yamato or whatever it may be, and then then they can get rid of 1, but 2, typically they can't get rid of it. So,
and honestly, it's super good in the mirror just because it forces them to just deal with it. Yeah. It's like, it's a free bottom, but if you're focusing on this to bottom versus a kid, I kind of just won.
Yeah.
Right, and it's a free ramp. It gets you neutral if you play this into a Beppo, get bodies out. So this is the heart and soul of all RP Law decks. It's the 4 Reiju. You're crazy if you don't run 4 of these. Like, this is a must. This gets your hand refilled. It's a 4-5K body. It does a lot for your deck. It prevents you from being starved, and this is how you see your cards. A lot of people are still running Queens for extra support, and even the Miss All Sundays for extra support. I'm not too fond of them because they lose value in that mid-range that I like to play. But in a later game Law build like James's, super strong. Super strong. 4 of Beppo right now. I think this card never leaves. It's just too good. Plus 2 Dawn. You go Dawn neutral on turn 3. It's a 5K. It's a 2K, which is very important, right? A lot of decks are starting to lose out on 2Ks. This deck ends up running 13, which is weird because you'd never think of an aggro build having 13 2Ks. But this deck does. I still run 3 of the Toy Laws, mainly for the mirror match. I still get value out of it if I need to do something cheeky like Toy Law into a Gordon to get rid of an 8K body. I don't like that play because it's not the most efficient, but I still get a body out next turn to swing with. Here's the second card that every deck needs to play 4 of. It's your 5-drop Kid. A lot of games, if you don't see this, you usually lose. You need to see at least 1. At minimum 1. You get 2 or 3 off, your opponent's cooked. 100%. But this needs to stick. This is your engine for power, right? This gives you that -2 versus -3. You'll always go neutral and Dawn your following turn. I see a lot of people play this next card at 3 and 4. I just don't have room for it. It's more of a 2K and a wall if I need to. And it's really good. It's really cheap when you get it off. But with the build that I like to run, poking 5s and 6s, I'd rather invest the Dawn elsewhere if I could. But Sanju's such a great card. It's a 6K body. It's a 6 cost body, so it makes it really hard for black to remove. They end up having to use much more, which you kind of need in that Gecko and Lucci matchup, which are probably 2 of the harder matches for RP Law in general. Now we're going to go to the events. This is the spice, okay? This is the spice.
The John Roy special, some might even say.
This has won me so many games. This is the reason I'm 14 and 1 last week, okay? So I still run 2 of the 2-drop Fire Fists. Reason being, yellow is such a problem with the tall bodies, right? But a Fire Fist into a Gordon can let you touch basically every 10-drop ace and Yamato and Katakuri. This is important. Reason being, you need to be able to touch at least one of them in order to go for your win con. In order to win in most yellow matches, you need to get super wide. Like, you really don't want to deal with an 8K swing or a 10K swing. You usually lose. And the Fire Fist into a Gordon has really helped me clear a lot for game. So this last card, you'll see no one run. I think it's the best card in the deck. Okay. A lot of people won't say that this card's even
an option.
Yeah. Because you have to run so many things.
Radar. Yeah, it's not around the radar. But
like, this originally was a tech to help with the black-yellow Luffy to get over, right? It's Gum Gum King Kong Gatling. If you don't know what this card is, it's a 2-cost event. It gives you +3 to any character or leader, and if your opponent has a 7K body on the board, you can give +1. So at minimum, you get an extra Dawn investment for a 2K, or for 2 Dawn. At best, you become +4 for 2. Its trigger has helped in so many games clearing a 5K body, whether it be a blocker or another attacker, to swing tempo. So a lot of win conditions and those taller matches, right? So big bodies. This comes in handy to get over, to get cards out of hand, whether it's a Nell or go for game in the black-yellow Luffy matchup. You can go Bond Clay, copy a 8K Luffy, add the King Kong Gatling. You could go Shiraya, copy their 9K leader, go Gatling, get over, add all the rest of your Dawn, swing super tall for game.
Yeah.
My favorite win con, -3, Kid Killer, Gatling. Gross. 11K rush. It's like, this card has so much value for only being 2 Dawn.
And then another common combination that you have too, that you always talk about, is going kid, leaving 1 Dawn up, going Kid ability to get 1 back after you neg Dawn, having just enough and going over. So it's a fantastic strategy there too, and it's insane. It wins you plenty of games.
Or even if I don't have enough, I'll even just -3, play the Bond Clay to ramp 1 and get 1 back from Kid and Killer, from Kid, and get it off. I mean, it's such a great card, especially in a format where you have to play so much taller things. It really does help. But yeah, guys, that's the list. 14-1 last week, won 2 locals, got into the finals of a box tournament, and I love this deck. I hope it gets hit.
Absolutely. But yeah, that's Johnny's deck profile, and also his introduction. Warm welcomes to Johnny for joining GLG. We're happy to have him here with us.
We have huge plans for this.
Tons.
And we're gonna introduce myself as the next Titan here at GPG. Yeah.
I love how I added the echo just for dramatic effect. But yeah, so as always, guys, really appreciate all the love and support you guys have been giving us lately. But as always, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share with a friend. And GLG out.